All right, so good morning, everybody. We're going to be doing Unit 7, Lesson 3. And I'm starting on this screen just so you can see where you go. If you're going to open up resources.org, you click on Math Curriculum, and then you're going to access the curriculum. And then you scroll down and you're going to pick Grade 6 and Student Explore. And we're going to Unit 7. And you can either, I'm going to go over here to Lesson 3. Okay. Comparing positive and negative numbers. So we're going to be using the number line again. I can explain how to use the positions of numbers on a number line to compare them. I can explain what a rational number is. I can use inequalities to compare positive and negative integers. So in 3.1 right here, it asks you which one doesn't belong. And you should be getting the hang of this, that there's always a reason why one of them doesn't belong. So I would pause the video, think about each one and what could it have that makes it different than the others. So in the first one, this is the only one with a fraction. In the second one, it's the only one with a greater than symbol, or it could not belong because it's the only one with two decimals. Here and here, this one only has one, and this one only has one. 8.5 is less than 7. It is actually false, and it's the only one that is false. And then in the third one, these are the only ones that are comparing two whole numbers as opposed to a decimal or a fraction. All right, in 3.2, I'm going to actually switch to my paper view for this. So you can see I've already drawn a number line on my paper. And it says here are the low temperatures in degrees Celsius for a week in Anchorage, Alaska. And we're supposed to, here's the day, the temperature, plot the temperatures on a number line, and then tell which day of the week had the lowest low temperature. Okay, so let's start in the middle. And this is 0. And that would be Sunday. And then let's just add the numbers in. So to the right is always positive, to the left is always negative. You could also do this on the vertical number line when you're talking about temperatures, they go up and down. But you can see it this way too. All right, so on Monday, we're going to plot Monday was 5, and Tuesday is -1. You have to put a dot there, that's what they're talking about. Wednesday is -5.5, so that's going to be about there. Thursday, -2. Friday is a +3. Saturday is a +4. And Sunday we said was 0. So the next part, it says, which day of the week had the lowest low temperature? So it would be Wednesday. Wednesday was -5.5. So all right, I'm going to turn my page. Now again, we talked in the chat, you do not have to print these out. You can be doing your work on paper. You do not even have to turn the practice problems in. Just like in school, we're doing the same thing. We weren't grading those. So just the cool downs. All right, so the second part, the average temperature on Mars is warmer on the number line. Negative 55 is farthest to the right. So the average temperature on Mars is about negative 55 degrees Celsius, which is warmer, the coldest temperature recorded in the USA or the average temperature on Mars. So I've gone ahead and plotted these on here. So negative 62 is the lowest temperature that's here. I don't know if you can see the color, but it's red. And then the average temperature on Mars is about negative 55. So the closer you are to zero when you're going down is colder, right? Warmer. So cold goes further down this way, warmer goes up. This is less, going up is more. Okay, so if you're saying which is warmer, the coldest temperature in the US or the average temperature on Mars, well, warmer is going to be the one that's closer to zero. So in this case, Mars is warmer because it's closer to zero. Okay, write an inequality to show your answer. So we're going to say negative 55 is greater than negative 62 because it's further up this way. It's more. On a winter day, the low temperature in Anchorage, Alaska was negative 21. I put that there. And the low temperature in Minneapolis, Minnesota was negative 14, so that's there. Jada said, I know that 14 is less than 21, so negative 14 is also less than 21. This means it was colder in Minneapolis than in Anchorage. And that is incorrect. Because, and we're going to say disagree. Yes, that's true that 14 is less than 21, but negative 14 is more than negative 21 because it's, so remember, cooler going down, warmer going up. So, so negative 14 is closer to zero than negative 21, which means that negative 14 is greater than negative 21. All right, let's go to 3.3. The Are You Ready for More is in Seesaw. Okay, so it says plot the numbers negative 2, 4, negative 7, and 10 on the number line. Label each point with its numeric value. So we're going to put negative 2 would be here. And a positive 4 is going to be here. Negative 7 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 7. And a positive 10 is here. Decide whether each inequality statement is true or false. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So negative 2 is less than 4. So negative 2, if it's going that way on the number line, it is less. So that is true. Negative 2 is less than negative 7. That is false. It's greater than negative 7 because it's to the right of it. 4 is greater than negative 7. Well, here's negative 7, here's 4. 4 is to the right of negative 7. So it is greater than. So that is true. Negative 7 is greater than 10. And we know that is false. Number 3, Andre says that 1/4 is less than negative 3/4 because of the two numbers. 1/4 is closer to 0. Do you agree? Explain your answer. Well, 1/4 is going to go to the right, and negative 3/4 is going to go to the left. So 1/4 is actually greater than negative 3/4. Not because it's closer to 0, but because it's to the right. 1/4 is greater than negative 3/4 because it is to the right on the number line. To the right of negative 3/4 on the number line. Number 4. Answer each question and be prepared to explain how you know. So 1/4, which number is greater? 1/4 or 5/4? So this is 1 and 1/4. So this is going to be greater. Which is further from 0? 1/4 or 5/4? This is going to be further to the right. 5/4. Which number is greater than negative 3/4 or 5/8? 5/8 because it's positive. And which is farther from 0, negative 3/4 or 5/8? So on this, just to make sure, you can do, we know, let's make it both 8. So if you're converting that time, it would be 6/8. So which is farther from 0? It would be negative 3/4 because 6/8 would be farther than 5/8. Even though it's negative, you're talking about how far it is away from 0. And the last one, is the number that is farther away from 0 always the greater number? Well, we just proved in the last one, negative 6/8 was farther from 0 because it's, if you didn't, distance is always positive. So you can just look at how many spaces does it take to get there. It doesn't really matter in that case whether it's positive or negative when they're asking which is further from 0. You're just counting the spaces between that and 0. So the answer to this is no. The number that is farther from 0 can be positive or negative. And it is the amount of spaces or distance that counts. Okay. All right, so that's the end of the lesson 3 lesson. Look, you're going to do the practice problems, which are in your lesson 7 materials, which are posted in Google Classroom. So you do the practice problems, then you do the cool down. The cool down needs to be turned in Google Classroom, and that is the part that will be graded. And you guys need to keep up. I'm entering grades every day, and a lot of you have not done lesson 1 or 2 yet. So make sure you get those cool downs submitted, please. All right, thank you.